Welcome to The Robin Show. Subscribe below so you can get the latest updates and follow me on Facebook and Instagram at The Robin Show. Hey there, so Divine Ones, we are back with another episode. Have had some really great questions come in and I wanted to share these with you today and just give you the energy, the frequency, the vibration that's around these types of things, because when we have clarity about how our energy impacts others, we start to see ourselves more clearly and then we can really move forward in life. So let's get to the first question. The first one is, why is it when I fight with my significant other, I feel horrible? This is a great question. And you know, when we're fighting with someone, there's always this ego that's at play. Like you're saying, I want this, I want that, I don't like this, I don't like that. And it's a collaboration that goes back and forth. So when you're having a fight, this is pent up energy and anger. And it could be from what's going on with that specific person, or it could be part of your programming from your parents, from, you know, situations you've had before with other people. There's so many factors here about why you're being triggered in such a horrible energy. And the clear thing to look at it is, why is it that you're fighting about that specific thing? What is it about that thing that upsets you? And you have to go deep here first. I know with my many years of working with people, this is something that we always go to. What's the core issue? What's the core time in your energy when you've had this vibration or frequency disrupt your flow, disrupt who you are? And then you made notes and you're like, I don't want that to happen again. I don't know why that was here. That's part of the healing part of it. So the reason why you feel horrible is because this other person is there displaying a behavior or a energy or something in their personality that you don't care for because of past experiences or because of past life energies or just because it's in your DNA, and you feel horrible because you don't want to feel it again. But here you are feeling it again, right? So how do we correct this? How do we shift this, right? We go into the core energy of it. We do some healing work around it. We acknowledge that those feelings are real and guiding us for a reason. Big deal to do that, because you can't shift things until you let go of things. You have to look at the energy and say, I don't like this frequency. I don't want this frequency to continue with me in the future. So I have to look at the reason why it's here, the reason why I've drawn it into my vortex of energy, because whenever you've had a fight with someone, there's something there on both sides. We can say all we want, that it's the other person's fault, that they did this, they did that. They just trigger you. And you're with that person for a reason. Your frequency has been in alignment with that. I'm not saying that's conscious, because so many times you're like, well, I didn't ask him to cheat on me, or I didn't ask him to go steal this, or I didn't ask her to treat me like I'm her father. You know, there's all these stories, right? But the thing is, you have to look at the frequency and vibration. This can be from anything that's happened in this lifetime. It can be from your ancestral energies throughout many, many lifetimes where you've just passed this kind of way and behavior down. And it can be from your energy blueprint across all time, space, dimension, and realms. It's really simple to go to the energy. It's a really simple process to go there and see why it does it. But the thing is, you have to be willing to be vulnerable enough to say, there's something going on with me as well. So that's why you feel it, because you feel horrible. Two people can have the same thing happen and have two different responses. Neither one of them's right or wrong. None of it's right or wrong. It just is. So let's go into the next question, which like piggybacks on this one. Why do I feel happy then when they're gone? So after you've had this fight, let's say they left, they walked away, they were going somewhere or something, and then there you are, and like, whew, happy they're gone, or happy that energy. And then later you might have different thoughts about it. The reason why you're happy about it is because that vibration and frequency that made you feel so horrible has now, from a frequency aspect, left your immediate energetic space. Some people say we have a 5-foot or a 10-foot or a 20-foot aura or whatever. I just know our energy fields go out as big as that we can expand them, or as big as that they are. That's why when you go into certain places or you're around certain people, your energy gets and connected in many different ways. So the reason why you feel happy is because this person You have made the stimulant. You've said, they're the stimulant, they're why I feel this way. And as soon as they leave, you're like, oh, I can breathe. Oh my goodness, I can feel like myself again. But you have to acknowledge that when you're feeling happy because they left, there's still a part of you that needs to look at that energy as well. Because we cannot change the planet, we can't change our lives, we can't move frequencies of anything if we don't acknowledge that it's within us to begin with. So feeling happy is like, okay, great, we have a little breather, but acknowledge that that person has that vibration and frequency, and the only way that that can shift is if that person wants to shift it themselves, or if you're shifting it within yourself, which you've got to shift it within yourself, or you're still going to draw that frequency from other people. I mean, that person can change it, but the only way they can change that behavior towards you is you not being the one that's magnetizing it to yourself. That's what we are. We're magnets. We draw them in. We're just like, okay, that's how the energy goes. So I hope that makes sense. All right. Another question here. Why do other humans affect our mood? Great question here. It goes along with this. I wanted this whole episode to be about the energy between people and relationships. So have you noticed that if you see this delightful little child, you're like, oh my gosh, look at them, they're so cute, and they're like happy and they're playing and giggling, and you're like, you are too. And then you can see another child that's like, you know, being more violent or like hitting something or just being grumpy, and you're like, now I'm grumpy. And not such as with children, this can be with people too. Like, you might be really comforted to see your mom one day, and the next day you're really upset to see her. This is because of the frequencies of energy that we are attracting to ourselves and that are in these things and how they resonate with us. And we would all like to think like, oh, well, that person's happy, I'm happy. But I'm telling you what, I know people, I have seen this happen so many times where they feel like, I'm going to send that person love. I'm going to send happy energy to them. I'm going to send this to them. And those people get really freaking mad, and they get angry, and they get reactive. And I know this from personal experience. You're thinking, I was just sending them love. Like, what's going on? You know, if you send people love, it's okay. If people can't receive love or light or healing or money or any of the energies that you think is positive, because that's what we think, then they're not going to be receptive, and their vibration and frequency is going to come back and be like pissed off, because it's like, great, now you gave this to me. Like, have you ever tried to give someone a gift and they're like, oh, no, I'm good? Because somewhere in their programming, they've thought it's not okay to accept a gift. And you're here hurt because you're like, I just want to do something nice for them. I just wanted to help them. And I'm not saying that those are ill intentions. I'm just saying that when someone doesn't respond the way that you want them to respond, and then you let that affect your mood, you are then putting a responsibility on another person to affect how you feel versus you being completely responsible for how you feel. And that's the key to it, knowing that you can do things from the kindness of your heart and help others, and that is so received. But if they don't receive it, that's the point. They don't receive it the way you want them to receive it, and then you put blame or baggage or heaviness on that person's energy, that's you creating a judgment around it. That's you creating like a programming within yourself where you have a certain expectation about when you do something for someone or you give an energy to someone that they should have a response that you like versus them just having a response that's theirs. And I'm not saying this is a good or bad thing. I just want you to understand it so that you can put your own energy in a check, and this is how you heal you. I have done this so many times. I have been around people. I have seen this. I've acknowledged it. And I'm like so excited. I'm like, oh, I got them this great present. I thought about it. I knew it's what they wanted. And then they're like, oh, okay, thanks. And you're like, oh, okay, great. Spent my money, time, and energy, and my effort, and my heart, and I just go, thanks. And I have learned that I cannot get upset about that. I cannot let that energy impact my life, because if I do, it's not me showing up how I want to show up. I want to show up with giving them that lovely gift. And the person totally loved the gift. They liked it. Later, there was a thank you involved, but they had to process it because they're not used to someone giving that level of a present to them. And that's just honoring who they are. So when we come into do other humans affect your mood, it's about you looking at it and saying, how I respond, how I give back energy, how I react to this, that's on me, not them. And if you want that reaction to be different, you can always communicate that with them and tell them that. But if you do it out of anger or frustration or sadness, then that's the vibration they're going to feel too. So you just have to be really conscious of your energy, because that's how you start to make your life feel more abundant and more in tune and more in alignment with the frequencies you want, by you understanding that. Now, I want to add one little last thing on to the end of this. By putting the frequency out, you putting it out, saying that when I do these behaviors, I love that people acknowledge it in their way and I receive that abundantly. That's a big way to shift this, so that you just know what you do and you do it from your heart, and that's how you bring reciprocity back to you. All right, this has been another great episode. I can't wait to see you in the next one. If you want to submit your question, go to therobinshow.com and I will answer your question. Have a great day. Take care.